Let's be real for a second. We've all been there, right? Sitting in one of those rigid plastic chairs, staring at a digital ticker on the wall, and just completely dreading the fact that your entire afternoon is evaporating while you wait in line at the motor vehicle division. The sheer frustration of those long wait times, it's literally a universal experience. But what if I told you that you could completely skip that line, save your day, and get the whole shebang done with zero stress? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to walk through the exact step-by-step process of scheduling an Arizona DMV appointment online. We're turning what used to be a massive, day-long headache into an absolute breeze. Okay, so let's dive right into this by looking at a pretty incredible statistic right off the bat. 52 to 22. That right there is the drop in average wait times in minutes across Arizona's state MVD offices. Crazy, right? It's all thanks to the state's really bold Get Arizona Out of Line initiative, which has made those wait times just plummet. But here's the catch. You only get to experience these drastically reduced wait times if you actually know how to use the right digital tools to schedule your visit in advance. To make sure you're fully equipped, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with how to skip the DMV wait entirely, then we'll walk through a step-by-step online scheduling tutorial. After that, we'll cover appointment types and requirements, go over some crucial tech tips for smooth booking, and then troubleshoot with some amazing third-party options. Finally, we'll wrap up with some essential final tips and a quick disclaimer. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Skip the DMV Wait. We're going to focus on the primary digital platform that has just completely transformed how Arizonans handle their driving credentials. Just look at the sheer scale of adoption for this platform. Over 1.5 million Arizonans have already activated their free accounts at azmvdnow.gov. In fact, more than 2/3 of all MVD services and transactions are now completed entirely on this site. We're talking about things like renewing your vehicle registration, updating your address, or even ordering a replacement ID, literally all without ever having to leave your couch. And for that remaining 1/3 of services that actually do require an office visit, well, this portal is your absolute VIP ticket to bypassing the walking queue. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, Step-by-Step Online Scheduling. Let's see how all this builds into a functional guide for actually securing that golden appointment slot. Even if you consider yourself totally non-technical, this process is designed to be super straightforward. Here's the breakdown. Booking your appointment basically happens in 5 logical phases. First, you access the portal at azmvdnow.gov and hit Schedule an Appointment. Second, you'll need to verify your identity. Third, you pick your exact service, like a knowledge test or instruction permit. Fourth, input your zip code to pick a location. And finally, just confirm your time slot. Now here is a huge pro tip straight from our sources. When you're moving through these steps, completely resist the urge to use your browser's back button. Doing that can actually cause the system to glitch and force you to start the whole process over. Just stick to the navigation buttons inside the portal itself. I want to zoom in on Step 2 for just a second because identity verification is where a lot of folks get tripped up. The system has to make sure you are who you say you are, basically to stop bots from hoarding all the appointments. So you can verify using your physical Arizona driver license or ID number. If you're a bit more tech savvy, you can use a mobile driver license or MDL, right, through digital wallets like Apple or Google Pay. And hey, if you've completely lost your physical card, don't panic. There's an alternative demographic lookup that uses secondary info to find your file. But speaking of that mobile option, this brings up a major technical pitfall you definitely want to avoid. If you go the mobile ID verification route, you might actually run into this exact error message on your screen. So do yourself a favor, preemptively update your web browser before you even start the scheduling process, and make absolutely sure you have pop-ups enabled. Otherwise, the identity verification could just crash and halt your progress right when you're trying to lock in that time slot. All right, let's shift gears to Section 3, Appointment Types and Requirements. This is absolutely crucial because showing up for the wrong appointment type is a one-way ticket to frustration. You really need to contrast the stuff you can do at home versus what strictly requires an in-person visit. And honestly, the portal categorizes these pretty clearly. If you need a physical road test, a level 2 or 3 VIN inspection, or you're upgrading to a travel ID, yeah, you definitely need to book in an office appointment. But if you just need to renew your registration, maybe grab a specialty plate or submit a sold notice for a car you just got rid of, save yourself the gas money. All of those are online eligible and literally take just a few minutes on the portal. The big takeaway here is that if you do have to go in, you absolutely must come prepared. The MVD is incredibly strict about documentation. And if you fall into certain specific categories, the requirements get highly niche. For example, if you're presenting an I-94 form without a passport, you've got to have a second government-issued photo ID on you. Or if you're using an ADC-released offender card, it explicitly has to state that you're a U.S. citizen. Bring exactly what's required, guys, or your appointment slot will just be entirely wasted, and nobody wants that. That brings us perfectly to Section 4, Tech Tips for Smooth Booking. Because, let's face it, sometimes you log on and the system just looks completely booked up. So here is a really incredible calendar hack directly from our sources. If you live in a major metropolitan area, think Phoenix or Tucson, appointments there can be booked up weeks or sometimes even months in advance. If you log in and see zero availability, don't give up. The trick here is to just expand your search radius. Check a few different locations. Driving maybe 20 minutes to a nearby town might literally save you from waiting 6 weeks for a slot in your own zip code. Now, once you do finally lock in that time, do not just close your browser window. The final screen is going to summarize your service type, location, date, and time, and you'll get a confirmation email. You absolutely must save this. Take a screenshot of the unique QR code on your phone or print it out if you have to. That QR code is basically your VIP fast pass for checking in at the kiosk on the big day. Without it, the clerks are going to have a really hard time pulling up your reserved slot. But wait, what if you urgently need a road test tomorrow and the portal shows literally zero availability for weeks across your entire county? Well, that brings us to Section 5, Troubleshooting and Third-Party Options. I want to introduce you to what is honestly the ultimate workaround. Did you know Arizona actually has authorized third-party providers? We're talking about agencies like One Stop Motor Vehicle Services, AZ Auto License Services, and Easy Title. These places operate almost like private DMVs. They are fully certified by the state's Motor Vehicle Division to process your paperwork, and the best part? They often do it with little to no wait time at all. Seriously, these third-party offices are an absolute game changer. While you can schedule appointments with them, walk-ins are almost always welcome. Tons of customers report being in and out in just 10 to 15 minutes. And even better, places like One Stop and AZ Auto License Services often offer evening and weekend hours, which is just perfect if you work a standard 9 to 5. Plus, they aren't just doing the basic stuff. They offer full services. We're talking travel ID upgrades, road skills tests, and even commercial driver license processing. All right, we are rounding the final corner here into Section 6, Final Tips and Disclaimer. Let's cover some really crucial day of appointment advice so your visit goes perfectly smoothly. If you do end up going to a traditional MVD office, there is an actual science to timing your visit, and I'm going to let you in on some insider secrets. Avoid the first 2 days and the last 2 days of the month. That's when absolutely everyone rushes in to renew their expired tags. Definitely avoid the day immediately following a holiday, too. And here is a slightly bizarre but incredibly crucial piece of inside info. Most state offices are actually closed for training until noon on the second Wednesday of every single month. Do not show up at 8 a.m. on that Wednesday. You'll just be locked out. Also, if you just have a quick question about fee estimations, save the trip and use the live chat feature on the ADOT website to talk to an expert right from home. Now, I really cannot emphasize this next point enough. There is a looming deadline coming up that is going to cause a massive rush on appointments. As of May 7, 2025, the TSA is going to strictly require an Arizona travel ID, a U.S. passport, or another federally approved ID for all domestic flights. If you wait until, say, April 2025 to book your appointment for a travel ID upgrade, you are likely going to find the system completely overwhelmed. So do yourself a favor. Book your appointment for this specific upgrade right now to avoid an absolute disaster at the airport later. Okay, before we wrap up, just a quick but super important professional reminder. State regulations, required documents, and MVD procedures, they are constantly evolving. So while this explainer is a highly detailed and practical guide to get you started, you really should always double-check the most up-to-date guidelines, fees, and exact documentation requirements directly on the official ADOT website at az.gov before you leave your house. Well, we've covered the portal, the calendar hacks, the strict document rules, and those amazing third-party workarounds. You are now fully equipped to navigate this entire system like an absolute pro. No more sitting in those plastic chairs for hours on end. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you have the tools to completely skip the dreaded motor vehicle line, what are you going to do with all that extra time in your day? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and safe driving out there.